I'm just starting it a bit early and I will wrap it up very quickly. Today, I just want to give you an introduction. You have already seen my post. I'll keep it in English because in Bengali, we are only doing only one podcast, that is the So You Want to Be an Artist. That is the only thing what we are doing in Bengali. Otherwise, all the other content what you see from now on will be mostly in English. Sometimes Italian, French, Spanish, and other languages, but mostly in English. Occasionally, I will keep using the Bengali terms so that you can relate to the terms as well. But saying that, what we are doing, we are starting it again. Aloron. We will talk about acting. We will talk about cinematography and how the light affects acting. Because you have to understand, cinematography. It is not just a word. You have the composition, how you are taking the picture. So you will find similarities with photography, how you are shaping the elements, how you are arranging the elements or rearranging the elements. Then you have the blocking. When you have the space, you have the actors, and the actors are moving through the space. How you block the actors. There is a 180-degree line rule, and sometimes you break it. And if you know it more, you can break it very easily, and it will have equal or if not more dramatic impact. So you need to know when to use that, when to use that, when to choose those lenses, which lenses to choose, what kind of light, what will be the key to field ratio, whether you need a rim light or not, what will be the ratio between the lights, like the shadow, the fill, the key, the 3-point lighting setup we talk about, the basic setup. And apart from that, maybe you need to highlight the thin portion of the ear. A thin light is there which is lighting the ear. Sometimes we call it hair light. So names can be many, but I would emphasize on only one thing, that you have to have the feeling of the light. So there can be many names, key light, field light, because it's the primary light, it's the key light. That's why it's called the key light. Fill light, when it's filling the shadows, that's why it's fill light. So there is a meaning behind the names. You understand the names, then you look for the emotional effect that the light can have, the composition can have. So directing the eye, then you have the elements, the dynamics of the elements, whether you are having a virtual straight line or a circle, the shapes, there can be shapes, inherent shapes, how you arrange the elements. You need to know all these things. Then foreground, midground, background. So you need to develop your eye. To develop your eye, you need to watch a lot of movies. People who are in the profession, you can relate to it, but often we don't talk about it now, anymore now. So I used to read the book, this 5 C's of cinematography and all these things, ASC manual and all these things I used to read long time back. Nowadays, I don't see people talking about all those things, the emotional aspects of lighting and how it can impact your dramatic performance, irrespective of the genre. For example, if you are doing a movie like film noir, you are using lights in a different way. You are taking the decision based on your film noir lighting. You know what I'm talking about. The stark shadows, you are having hard lighting, soft lighting, diffuse light. So the decisions you take, it's a great thing. What I want to emphasize on from today, I am just giving an introduction for the next phase, and we will talk about acting broadly in two aspects: on stage, when you do it on stage, when you do it in front of camera. Now, when you are doing it on stage, then you have the lighting aspects as well. Your lighting, it can be a parabolic reflector, it can be other lights. So technically, you can name them in different ways depending on the material, depending on the make of the light. You can do all these things. The significance of the lights, you can name it like that, like key, fill, and all the other lights, rim lights. Then how you put them, 3/4 lighting, so that you can have the three dimensionality, because we are having a 2D screen. Nowadays we have the stereoscopic cameras, the 3D cameras, but how you use them, what is the necessity of using them? IMAX camera, you are using the IMAX camera, what is the necessity, what it can do for your movie? So it's the dramatic impact, it's the emotional impact you are having, because ultimately you have to come to that. Now you have to understand the coherence, you have to understand the interplay between or among these elements. So as I started with composition, so in photography you have composition, you have the elements, how you are putting the elements in a frame, how you are composing the frame, how you are arranging, rearranging all these things. The moment you have the cinematography or the video aspects of it, you have the movement, then you are blocking the actors, there is a space, you're moving your camera, your actors are moving, how you put your camera, whether you're using one camera or multiple cameras. You can use one camera, so that will affect your editing decisions, that will affect your directing decisions, maybe how you are selecting the shots, how you are choosing the shots, how you are, you take a call sheet, or you look at the script breakdown, and you decide which one to shoot first, which one to shoot later. So all these decisions you are taking based on what? Because you have the overall idea. So the director has the creative leadership, he or she has the vision for the movie. But it's always good if you have knowledge about each and every aspect of filmmaking, because you can contribute more. It's not a bad thing, that is what I want to say. Whether you're doing it for money or you're doing it not for money, something more than money, these debates will go on. But if you love it, you can understand, then you will understand your worth, you will ask for that money. So these will be the aspects of professionalism we talk about. But when it comes to the work, then you have to love the work. You are taking money, but you are not showing, you are not doing the work you are supposed to do. Like, you are supposed to do a great camera work, you are taking the money like a great cinematic professional, cinematographer professional. But when you are not giving that thing, that output, then you have a distorted sense of self-worth, that you have to understand, because it's like incongruence in many ways, or maybe in every way. Because the moment you do that, that's why, people talk about all these things. When you talk about whether it's for money or not, it's like you are being genuine about your work, you are giving your best, you're giving yourself, to this work, because you love it. It is not just a job, you are doing it for money. It's something more than that. And you have a sense of duty and responsibility, how the actors will look good, how the movie will look good. There will be many shots the editor can choose from. We have a lot of options, the director can have a great conversation, so we can do all these things. So explicitly we don't have to mention, but unfortunately, I don't know, because I think that mostly we do the interviews and discussions. So it's like somebody is asking you a question specific to the movie which you have come to promote, or you are wanting to do publicity for a movie or maybe a particular event. But we don't go to these aspects, but we should talk about these aspects. Maybe you are taking a movie, but occasionally you can come up with those questions. So maybe occasionally you can come up with those questions, so the director will be very happy to answer those questions. The interviewer will be very curious to ask you those questions. Curiosity not in terms of gossip or rumor, in terms of the craft, in terms of the art, in terms of the cinematic aspects of storytelling, the cinematic aspects of the filmmaking business, filmmaking, cinema, whatever you call it. That curiosity I'm talking about. Because when you are doing that, you have to understand these are basic things, the inherent aspects. You have a cinephile inside you. Maybe you are doing film journalism, but there is a cinephile inside you, maybe an ardent film fan, or maybe one day you will become a director yourself. So there is an aspiring filmmaker inside you. The moment you ask those questions, it's not like to look good in front of public, or maybe you are smiling because you are with a celebrity. So all these manners and etiquettes you are doing, that's fine. But when you ask those questions, it can be mostly open-ended questions, sometimes closed questions too. The questions you ask, those show the curiosity you have for cinema. It can be for that particular movie, it can be for filmmaking as a profession. Why we are talking about ecosystem or a culture of filmmaking or the cinematic appreciation, which we used to have in Bengal, in India. Gradually we saw the decline. Now I think things will become better again. But it's like you have to shape the culture, and it has to be a part of the culture, cinematic appreciation. You might not be in that particular profession, but you have a knack for movies. Maybe you are a warm, it's like cinema poca, we used to call cinema poca. I mean, it's like a cinematic, what I can call it is avid film fan, ardent film fan, a cinephile. It's like a worm of cinema. Cinema poca mane you are addicted to cinema almost. You love to watch a lot of movies, you love to listen to a lot of music. So that kind of relation we are talking about. And when you are immersed into this, whether you are into music, whether you are into direction or filmmaking, whether you have come from music to filmmaking, whether you have come from filmmaking to music, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anything you take, the moment you are involved in that thing, that's why we did the session on involvement, that immersion, that involvement, it will guide you through different things you want to explore. So maybe music is giving you the guidance, maybe a painting is giving you the guidance, maybe an artwork is giving you the guidance. Nowadays, maybe a VR experience, maybe technical artwork you are seeing, an artwork using the advanced technologies, that is giving you the guidance. It can be because you went to a place where you saw the space was being utilized in such a way that you saw a you saw the artwork in a space where you could use different advanced technologies. So it is not like in a 2D medium when you have the screen, you are watching a picture, you are watching the movie. It's a 2D medium, but we create the illusion of depth, the three-dimensional aspects. That's why I was talking about the way you light it. Initially, it used to be like that, but then came the stereoscopic or the 3D cameras. So the more you are involved in the process of making the cameras, or you do the research about your cameras, you are genuinely curious about the technical aspects as well as the artistic aspects of the camera. The more you can utilize it, the more you can utilize it for the sake of storytelling, for art, whatever you call it. But ultimately, if you ask me, I can tell you from my personal experience, the moment I'm writing, it's a great thing if you are a writer director yourself. That's a great thing you can do. When you are totally involved in the process, when you are writing the scenes, you will think how it will look like on the screen. If I were the audience, how it would have been on screen, So you are being authentic about that experience too. So it's like you are writing something and you're throwing it away for the audience. You are equally enjoying while writing the movie. You may equally enjoy it while watching the movie because you are having the visual insights. And when you are writing the screen scenes, you are thinking about the dramatic impact. If it had been an IMAX camera, how it would have looked like. If I choose a prime lens, it will give you certain kind of sharpness. So whether I should go for a zoom lens or I should go for a prime lens, should it be anamorphic or something else? What can be the aspect ratio? If I take 4:3, if I take 16:9, I talked about aspect ratio in one session. So nowadays, or going forward, I won't talk about all those aspects anymore, the basics. I will talk about the things, when you act, how these things are coming together to shape your performance. Because on stage, you might give a great performance. There can be great lighting, but sometimes nowadays, people are capturing that performance, but it is not like cinema. So maybe the camera is somewhere, maybe multiple cameras are there too. You are editing it, it will have a dramatic impact. But in cinema, the cameras we are using to use the shots in an artistic way, in a cinematic way. So if you are using a close-up, if you are using a long shot, if you are using a two shot, you should know why you are using that, or at least you should be guided by your feeling. As I mentioned, when you are writing the script, if you are genuine about writing the script and the experience, if you are the director, it's even better. Sometimes I write in the script that this is going to be like this. It can be a truck forward, it can be a trucking shot, it can be a zoom shot. The lens is, we are zooming the lens, something. Sometimes people don't like that, if especially if the director and the cinematographer, they are separate. But In many instances, you will find that there is great collaboration. Sometimes it might be a instance of ego. The cinematographer might tell you that it's supposed to be my job. You are not supposed to write that in the script. You are supposed to write the script. You are supposed to direct. We can have a conversation, but I am the one who should decide it. That can be one way. You can choose your cast and crew accordingly. And as I always mention, you all are coming together to shape the movie, to make the movie. Maybe the cinematographer is coming with a new insight. Maybe the director is coming with a new insight. Maybe the actor is coming with a new insight. So the involvement, involvement. So suddenly you are taking a close up. Maybe you are taking 2, 3, 4, or 10 takes, or maybe sometimes 40 takes. You are coming up with more things. Can I change the lens? Let's try changing the lens. I think it will look better. So everyone is involved in the process. Especially if you are in the profession for a long time, you have been curious in the right way. You are beaming up with these insights, curiosity insights. And when you have a director who can help you to discuss all these things, then it can be a great discussions. Maybe he or she will tell you that for this particular scene or for this particular instance, we might not shoot this, maybe due to some constraint, or if we can take multiple shots, we can do that too. Maybe we are not using that for this particular movie, but the idea was good, so I appreciated the idea. Maybe when you are doing something else, that idea, that insight, that knowledge, that wisdom, whatever you call it, it will help you to learn something so that you can use that knowledge or wisdom in the next project or in some other project. It's not like that, you used it there, you should not use it there. It's not like that. So that's why filmmaking is a great profession, acting is a great profession. Now the thing is like that, whenever we have admired great acting performances, it's like there are questions, there are debates. I can tell you, practical debates, practical questions. Why should you drag it down to a profession? Profession, I think it's like they are mentioning, it's like a job. Only this is what you have to do, stringent conditions, this is what you have to do. You don't have the juice, you don't have the that cinematic thing, the reason for which we do filmmaking. It is not there. You can feel it, you can change it. But you will see people talking about all these things, whether it's a business, whether it's a profession, whether it's a job, whether it's an art. What I am talking about here today is you should focus on the feeling too. You cannot ignore. I mean, many great who are great actors, they know it already. So when we have the discussion, we can bring it up anytime, and we can have a great discussion regarding that. But people who are starting out, people who are wanting to do great stuff, you understand the cinematic language and how the actor is involved. Because when you are respecting the actors, you know which side is the good side. We used to talk about all these things when you are starting out, when you are aspiring to become a filmmaker. Which side is the good side? Just by looking at the actor, we can tell which side is the good side. We used to help each other out, saying all these things. Now I think only few great people we discuss all these things. Otherwise, mostly we don't see these discussions. Which is your good side? Which color will be very good for the scene? We used to do these things, how the lighting can help, how we can have a great scene, just changing the light a little bit. Maybe the cinematographer ignored that. Maybe it came from a co-actor or somebody who is in the scene with you, doing the scene with you. That person thought that little change could have improved the scene in a lot better way. You talk to the cinematographer and you did the calculation, or you change the light, you move the light maybe a little bit, and it can have a great dramatic impact in the scene. You see what I'm talking about? Now, talking about acting, which method should I choose? Which school should I go to? Should it be a Lee Strasberg? Should it be a Stella Adler? Should it be a Uta Hagen? Should it be a Meissner? Should it be Michael Chekhov? Should it be Laban theories and all this? There are so many schools. I can talk about many schools. Stanislavski is there, or maybe you are doing classical acting. You can be a thespian. So all these things you can think about. Don't focus on the name only. Thespian, what does it mean? How you can bring it in your acting performance. Observing people, how you can bring it in your acting performance. Emotional memory, sense memory, this and that, how you can feel that and how you can bring it in your performance. Method acting, many people call method acting method or madness, these things we talk about, but it's like that feeling, that involvement, because when you're going through the process, you're enjoying the process. It's not something I am doing this process, this and that, not like that. You are, the script is giving you the opportunity, the director is giving you the opportunity, you are going through the process so that you can bring a lot more to the table for yourself, for the audience. So it's a great profession. Art, maybe one actor or few actors, the leads, the villains, other co-actors, you all can perform. And with a great director, you know that the great director is not discriminating, among the performances. I mean, you are the lead, that's why you are supposed to be the lead. Maybe you will have a lot of dialogue, you will have a lot of scenes, and ultimately the plot, when the plot will be unfolding, it will appear to the audience that you are the lead, protagonist, antagonist, whatever we call it. But apart from that, when you are a co-actor, maybe you are appearing for a small scene, a good director or a great director will be equally responsible for you. It's not he or she is ignoring you. Oh, you had a small scene, I shouldn't take care of you. We are taking care of the film. We are taking care of storytelling, filmmaking as a profession, cinema as an art, as a business, whatever you call it. Because when it is a business, there should be an involvement too. When you are having a great relationship with the producer is investing money. Stakeholders, if I call it, they are trusting that the director will do his or her job, creative leadership, guiding the cast and crew. Ultimately, we will see the movie. The money will be there, the financial aspects will be there, but ultimately it's a creative medium, right? So you have to think about the creative aspects of cinema, filmmaking. Then the emotional appeal, the emotional aspects of storytelling, the emotional aspects of the visuals, the things you see on screen, the things you hear. It can be Atmos, it can be 7.1, 5.1. How you can evolve from that, how you can have a great cinematic experience, maybe changing the theater experience, maybe changing the sound. Dolby is doing great job in that, but there is no end to it. You can always improve. So today we are having, say, for example, say Atmos today you are having, maybe 5 years down the line you will have something else. How do we know that we have to do the improvement? We have to be involved, because when we are enjoying cinema, when we are enjoying the storytelling, then we know the sound could have been better. We could have received the sound in a better way. We could have a great cinematic experience. The camera could have been a different camera. The gradation, the color gradation could have been a bit different. The lenses could have been a different. So as a cinephile too, you can come up with those questions, because one day when you will be a filmmaker, you got the emotional aspects, but when it comes to you to make the film, maybe you are using a different lens, because it is having a different appeal, it is having a different impact. It can be guided by your feeling, it can be guided by a lot of crucial decision making attitude or skill set, whatever you call it. Maybe you have developed it over time. It doesn't happen in one day. You watch a lot of movies, you go through the cinematic experience, gradually you develop that inside you. So maybe you are taking a very quick decision regarding the choice of lens or the choice of lighting, but there is years of hard work behind it. Years of hard work you have put, then you are coming to this instance where you are taking the quick decisions. So you cannot ignore that. It's your self-respect, you have put the effort, so you should respect that, you should convey that. But in few cultures, why I mentioned, in few cultures, cinema is the word only, filmmaking is the word. So sometimes we feel that it's the same thing all over the world. It's not, because there are cultural aspects, there are many other aspects in filmmaking, your attitude towards filmmaking. But what is wrong, or maybe it might not be good for all the instances. Maybe in some instances it's a lot of fun, maybe we are enjoying the process, maybe because of that a decision a film got made. Those are different scenarios we can talk about, but I mean, but what I'm talking about, the instances which is not that good for cinema, or the instance is not good for cinema. What do I mean by that? Not because of the words, because the moment you talk about the words, since they are playing with the words, just taking the previous line, they will come up with the grammar, this and that. You understand what I'm talking about? So the moment you go beyond the grammar, the moment you should maintain your grammar, but the moment you go beyond the grammar, beyond the sentence, subtext, context we talk about, a director can read between the lines. That's why not every actor can become a director. Not every actor can become a director, no matter whatever excuse he or she can make. You have to read between the lines. You cannot be stuck in the words only, phrases only, sub sentences only, because many people are doing that. It becomes a habit. And when you are making the excuses, that is also when you are making the excuses, those excuses are based on your this sentence, phrases and all these things. But when you go beyond that, you read between the lines. What is the context, what is the subtext? You are not trying to look good, or you are not trying to convey something using catchy words, word gimmicks. You're not doing that. We are not talking about those things here. At least from now on, we are not mentioning all these things. What we are mentioning is, a script is not supposed to bring you down. That attitude we are talking about. Maybe a script is written like that. The script is supposed to bring you down. When you are an actor, when you are a part of that particular movie, it can be ATL, it can be BTL, you can be part of the crew, you can be part of the cast. It is not supposed to bring you down, right? Now, when you are involved in the process, for that you can reach to the extent when you are giving a lot of performances. But in few industries or sub industries, the scripts are written. It's like they're writing. Who can write the script? Give me two people like that, and they are writing the script. It's like just throwing away when new talents are coming. They don't know. They don't have the experience. They don't have the wisdom. They don't have the wisdom to choose the movie. So whatever they are getting just for the sake of the professional experience, they are just saying yes to the movies. Then they think that gradually, when we have a name, when we can become a celebrity, we can take those higher decisions, or more maybe wiser decisions. But initially, we can just take anything, and you should in some cases, because in some instances you have to do that for money. Otherwise, how can you afford? But we are talking about cinema from a very high point of view, high level discussions. If you have really gathered that experience for a long time, you can relate to it. I may use two words, you can relate to it. I may use two lines, you can relate to it, because you have gone through that, as I always mention. But if you haven't, then you can make a lot of arguments, you can have a great debate, but ultimately it will amount to nothing. It will come down to nothing, absolutely nothing. But we can help each other out. We can learn from each other. We can go through a great discussion, friendly discussion, professional discussion, different kinds of discussions, and we can become better after the discussion. Or maybe we can just go blank after the discussion. We come blank, we go blank, we come with nothing, we go with nothing. Just we have the discussion for that time only, and we don't have the residues, we don't have anything from that discussion. You can choose anything, but it's like the feeling when you are enjoying the process, when you're enjoying your work, you know what decision to choose. I mean, it's not bothering you so that you have to disturb others. But when you have the mindset that script will be written to bring one down, that cast will be chosen to bring people down, when the crew will be chosen to bring people down, this and that, and that maybe a sub industry or an industry is built like that, then it can be very harmful for other people, especially people who are coming from other cultures. Cinema, filmmaking, they are relating to those words, but they don't know what is happening behind the scenes. So the script, doing that particular script, you don't quite feel it. doing that acting performance, you don't quite feel it. Performing with that particular co-actor, you don't quite feel it, you know. And then you go through this thing, that thing, and people again become regressive, and they will go back to that particular script only. That script was bad, the performance was bad. So it's like, to keep you in a vicious loop, to keep you in a stagnant or regressive loop, scripts can be written like that. There are people who do these things, you know. But we can move on, we can learn from the experience, we can move on. We did a role, then we can shrug off the role, you know. We can just let go, and we can go to the next performance. Sometimes we can learn from that particular role, and the residue will help you to shape the upcoming or the forthcoming performance. Sometimes you can just let go. So whatever is needed for the moment, you, if you are a professional actor, if you are a great actor who knows what he or she is doing, I expect you to do that, because when you are in a serious profession like filmmaking, it's a lot of fun and entertainment. Definitely, we're in the glitz and glamour world. But when you are in the filmmaking profession, there has to be certain kind of discipline to make it happen. Scheduling, budgeting, maybe without plans you are doing, but you have to make it happen ultimately. Especially after you have made few movies with that, you know, initial momentum or that love and passion for filmmaking, then you know that you have the stipulated time frame where you have to complete the film. You have a budget restriction where you have to complete the film. Now this, the film can extend that due to the circumstances, due to the requirements for the movie, but you are doing that for the movie, right? When you do that unnecessarily, I mean, then you have some management problem too. So that's why we are talking about acting. Cinema is a collaborative medium. So sometimes what happens is, if you are in the acting profession genuinely and you have given a lot to this profession, then you will find that gradually you are finding a knack for acting, writing, apart from acting. Because great dialogues, you want to write those dialogues. Great scenes, you want to write those scenes. Just out of curiosity. Maybe you're not making the movie. Out of curiosity, I wrote a script. You know, I never made it, but I wrote a script. You can do that. There is no harm in that. That can be a practice, that can be an exercise where you are just writing a script. Speculation on spec scripts, we call it sometimes. And you know, just for the sake of having fun, you want to write a script, you are writing a script. Nobody is forcing you to. Nobody is giving you money to write that script. You want to write a script, you are writing the script. You are enjoying the process. Maybe you can write it by hand, you can write it with the digital software, whatever you call it. You can write with a typewriter. Initial days, you used to go to the cafe, you take the typewriter with you, people are having a sip of coffee, and you are writing tuck, 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 tuck. Those days. Now we have a lot of technologies, but I think the love for filmmaking got reduced for a while. Now things are getting better and better. Love for acting, love for filmmaking. Particular male roles you have to propagate to the societies, particular archetypes. That's why the roles were written like that, the cast was being done like that. So you need to look at these aspects now. Maybe a second decision you are taking. Initially, you are taking the decision, you're with some options, then you can take a second call before making the movie, before actually going to the production stage. In the pre-production stage, you can actually figure out whether it's the right choice for my project or not. Sometimes we just let go because we intuitively, based on ingenuity, we take a lot of calls, you know. So we do all these things. That comes with experience, that wisdom, that knowledge. But you have to look at cinema, you know, watch a lot of movies, watch a lot of classics, how they did it. Many people are coming up with a debate nowadays. I will just mention, and you are stuck 30 years, 40 years back. Actually, they are stuck, maybe with something else. But you can learn so much from the old classics, you know that. Maybe the way you are implementing that in the new context, that can be different. And maybe or in many instances it happens, it's a very natural thing, it's not a bad thing to do, so called bad thing. You are writing a scene, many people will relate. I mean, I feel that there is a feeling of that old classic movie. That's a great thing. Often you don't even remember that, but sometimes you are watching maybe the old classic movie and then you can relate to it. Oh, I can see some similarities. Okay, 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 and you enjoy that process. That's not something bad, because you have the love for filmmaking. That's why. Now you can look at the classics, maybe black and white movies, but you are getting the cinematic feeling, you are getting the filmmaking experience, you are getting the cinematic experience. You can learn cinematography, you can learn editing, you can look at the acting performances. You are loving the thing, you are loving the process, you are loving the film, you are loving the performances, you are loving the editing, whatever you call it. You are enjoying the movie as a whole, or maybe different aspects of it. Then when it comes to writing your own script, you're writing scenes, when you're implementing new technologies, or maybe the things you have now, you can do it better. Maybe the lighting choices you are doing in a better way, but it is having a great dramatic impact. Maybe the inspiration was that classic movie, but you did it in a different way. This is not something bad, that's what I'm telling you, because this is how we do in cinema. But there are few cultures when they are with that attitude. A script is supposed to bring you down, a performance is supposed to bring you down, your co-actors are supposed to bring you down. That kind of mindset, they're always looking to find the faults in others. They're always find the bad things in others, because they are continuously looking for that. We can look at cinema as a whole. We can look at the filmmaking experience as an audience, as a producer, as a maker, as a director, BTL, cast and crew, whatever you call it. You are in the profession, you love movies. You are in the profession, you love cinema. That's why you are in the profession. No matter how small a job you do, you have the love for filmmaking. That is why there was a time you could become great just by being on the job, looking at the people, learning from people, looking at the job, looking at the process, how films are being made, because you have the love for filmmaking. It's not necessary that you have come from a great rich background, elite background, that is the only reason you are doing filmmaking. It's not like that. Because you have the love for filmmaking, maybe you are doing a very small job, in the filmmaking profession, but you are watching people, you were discussing with people, you are having great discussions, but your love, your passion was not a compromised love or passion. That's why whatever came across, you learned from it. Because one day you knew, you had the aspiration, you had the dream, you knew that one day you could become a star, you could become a director, you could become an editor, you could become a cinematographer, whatever you call it. It came from that love and passion, and you didn't do the compromise. So you have to learn how we can shape great performances based on that, especially for the new talents. Because nowadays we don't talk about all these things much, but for the new people, it can be a part of your curriculum, or apart from the curriculum, when you are having the film clubs or the discussions, you can talk about all these things, so that they know, cinema is a great thing. If I call it a new art, you can call it the way you like, but cinema, filmmaking, it is much more than a word, you know an experience, something more than that. And when you know that you can create that experience for the audience, it's a great feeling, creating those characters, creating those stories, directing those performances. It's a great feeling. And if you can do it all, it's even a greater feeling. But still, you can take others' opinions, other insights. Maybe you are taking control, you are uh, looking at each and every aspect of filmmaking or your particular film. You are the creative leader and you are very controlling, because you know what's the right thing for the movie. That's a great thing. It's your personal style, it's your directing style. That's a great thing. Ultimately, people will feel that because you had the control, we could see the great movie. Many people, they use laissez-faire and other kinds of leadership styles. They're letting people to come up with great opinions, experiences, discussions, performances. We can have great performances based on that. So whatever the movie is requiring, whatever you are feeling at that moment, that is why experience, when you talk about experience, you need to have those experiences. And when you know that one day you want to be in that profession, while you are watching the movie, the things are happening, and you know that how the movie was shot, how the movie was edited, how the movie was lit, how the scene was lit, how the performances were directed. You are having those curious questions. Those things we are missing nowadays. And I think the new talents should know more about those aspects of filmmaking. Acting being one of the central aspects, you cannot omit acting. It can be a non-verbal acting. You cannot, maybe you are not using words at all. It can be just by gestures and non-verbal language, but you cannot remove acting from the equation, right? And if you are a great actor, if you are a great actor, you are looking for scripts, a great script, a great director. They can harness the potential of an actor, irrespective of gender. I'm not going to the gender aspects. Whatever is required in that particular performance, a great director knows. You will love to work with the director. Maybe because of the discussions, maybe because of the things he has or she has done over the years. And you have a feeling, you can work with the director. You know that he knows what he is doing. And being too judgmental can take away a lot of things from that process. And when you compare too much without actually realizing it, or maybe knowing your own self, or maybe exploring different styles, when you don't do that, you are just doing comparison only, then you are also missing a lot of things. So you have to involve yourself in the process. Embrace, love filmmaking, love cinema. You can contribute in many ways. This playlist we will do only for acting. I think we have done only one for acting, so I will add it there only. And from here onwards, I will talk about filmmaking in different cultures, acting, different kinds of acting. Maybe I can show you one scene, or I can share one scene, and then we can discuss the performances. But first, you understand these basics, because when we go to that, we will talk about some other aspects, philosophical aspects, and many other aspects. So if you don't have the basics in your toolbox, then you can again come back to these, but you will miss out something, or maybe you will enjoy that thing. So it doesn't matter, but these basics you should know. Then we can talk about those performances. Okay, so I will end it here today. I'll keep it short, and we will talk about Broadway too. Broadway and the new kinds of performances, how technologies can help you, to create a different kind of performances. Your human aspects as an actor, and then you have the technologies. So how you can create something together. I watched a performance by Marina Abramovich. So she is using a lot of technologies. I think I shared it with you. But unless you have the basics, you don't know how to make use of that. So fundamentals, the basics, you have to understand, you have to love it. Then you can play with all these things. Acting, it's a great profession. You can elevate it to art, but it comes with that love for cinema, that passion for filmmaking. So first you have that, and then you can do everything. Thank you so much.